My parents divorced when I was about 5 and I lived with Mom, and after school on Friday, Dad would pick me up and we'd go straight to the video store to get a couple for the weekend. This was the 80s, well before parents cared what kids watched. I saw some stuff. And on Sunday, we would go to Grandma's house for a late lunch, and after lunch we would watch an old episode of Star Trek. But if that episode was one we had seen a few too many times, we would watch Kung Fu. This week, we're going back to my childhood, and we're watching some Kung Fu. Welcome to Exploitation Reviews, and me, Rob, and today I'm taking a look at Master of the Flying Guillotine from 1976. This is a fairly well-known piece of Kung Fu cinema, probably because Quentin Tarantino has spoken highly of it. He's even borrowed some ideas from it for his own movies. So let's see what's so great about one of Tarantino's favorite Kung Fu movies. We open on an old blind master. The narrator tells us that in the year 1730, Kung Fu masters were trained to use the Flying Guillotine so they could kill supporters of the Ming Dynasty. Those that were not killed went into hiding, and the government hired people like our master here to hunt them down. This particular master disguised himself as a Buddhist Lama. I didn't even know Lamas had religion. A carrier pigeon informs him that a one-armed man has killed his 2 disciples. The master goes inside and picks up the Flying Guillotine. Time for revenge. After the credits, we're in a martial arts school, and the master of the school has only one arm. That's Jimmy Wang Yu, by the way, the writer and director of this fine picture show. He tells the students that if they take deep breaths, they can lighten their weight, and true masters of jumping can become nearly weightless. This, of course, makes no sense at all, but it looks pretty cool, so who cares? One of his students tells him that there's a martial arts competition coming up. Attending would be risky because they are being hunted, but they're willing to take that risk because they might learn more Kung Fu. But the government has sent some masters there out of fear some rebels might use the tournament to start an uprising. At a pre-tournament dinner, our guillotine master kills a contestant who claims to be the one-armed boxer. And when the master learns it was just a bum pretending to be the one-armed boxer, the master says he doesn't care and will kill every one-armed man he finds. So I guess it turns out he's not the good guy, which is kind of interesting because this is a revenge film where the person seeking the revenge is the villain. That's pretty cool. The tournament starts and we get to watch various fighters with various fighting styles fight and sometimes kill each other, and that kind of sounds familiar. Fight. Some of them fight with traditional weapons, and some of them have more interesting abilities. One of the fighters, an Indian, has the very strange ability to extend his limbs. An Indian fighter who can extend his limbs? That sounds very familiar. Tiger! 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 Anyway, these fights range from silly to ultra-violent. Sometimes both at the same time. At one point, a one-armed fighter, but not our one-armed fighter, joins the fight. He wins the fight and then loses his head. The director of the tournament doesn't like the fact the guillotine master has killed senselessly, but he's no competition for the master of the Flying Guillotine. This pretty much brings the tournament to an end. Back at the school, the Thai boxer tells the one-armed boxer that the guillotine master is on his way because he told him where he was. So, will the one-armed boxer be able to keep himself and his students safe from both the Thai kickboxer and the master of the Flying Guillotine? Well, that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Let's talk some highlights. Well, Kung Fu films are kind of silly and a bit stupid. I'll admit that. From the horrible dubbing of the even worse dialogue to the ridiculous action that is in no way believable or grounded, these are silly movies. But they are entertaining movies, and that's really all that matters. And this movie in particular is extremely entertaining. Fun characters, fun fight choreography, fun bloody violence. It's just fun. And a lot of the really fun stuff comes at the end, which I haven't even talked about. And I don't want to spoil it. Let's just say that the one-armed boxer and his students have to handle both that Thai kick fighter and the master of the Flying Guillotine, and these fights are awesome. But despite all that, I wouldn't say the movie is perfect. You might be surprised to hear this, but a movie full of Asians does have some shortcomings. Well, I don't want to complain about this one too much. It's a classic. But it is a very low-budget Hong Kong kung fu movie, and it has all of the problems we associate with those movies. Bad dialogue, bad dubbing, bad special effects. But who cares? It's still fun. A lot of fun. I will say that my version of the film has sections that aren't in English, so it slips back to subtitled Chinese on occasion, and that's pretty distracting. And the picture quality isn't great. It would be nice to see a classic like this remastered and cleaned up a little. And I don't know, maybe there is a better version out there. Could be. But even without a remaster, this film is well worth watching, especially since you can watch it for free on Plex.